Hello, my name is Biringkpa. I am the host of Boring Conversations. Today we have in our midst a Nigerian writer, poet, and an author of many collections. You'll get to know him in a bit. He writes on different themes and he tries to intersect history, he tries to intersect politics, he tries to intersect the different things that make up for life in the 21st century, as well as how far we have come to the current situation we now find ourselves. He is from Nigeria, as I've rightly said, but his writing is not limited to Nigeria. His writing spans to different places and he talks about different events. Recently, he got his work on one of the serious literary publications in the country on brittle paper. You'll find his work, and his recent collection is titled Fragments of Absence. Today in Guinea, New Papa, a boy posed alone in a picture, waving his hand, a way to say, I miss him, whom I call father. Imagine the intersection and imagine the kind of wordplay down here as it concerns reality, as it concerns geopolitics, and as it concerns a whole lot of other things we will get to hear from him in a short period from now. And without further ado, I give him the floor to get to introduce himself better for us. Mr. John, over to you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate this moment. This moment means a lot to me. First of all, my name is John Chinaka Onyeche. Yeah, John Chinaka Onyeche. I am from the River State Museum, Nigeria, one of the states in Nigeria. Precisely, I'm from the Chi. Yeah, one of the tribe of in River State. Yeah. Currently, I'm based in Port Harcourt, so I write from Port Harcourt. I usually tell people that I write from Port Harcourt, so yeah, that is that. Okay.
Like to kick off with, we're just kicking off with this particular stuff that just got published down here. What gave rise to such intersection down here, and can you like walk us through a bit?
Okay, Fragment of Absence, like the title said, one of the days on Facebook. So I was thinking about my son. It's a whole lot of story. I've not been able to see my son for the past 8 months. Past 8 months now. I've not seen him because of one family issue or the other. So one of the day I was watching a picture from Facebook. That page was owned by a photographer from Guinea, New Papa. So I was watching the pictures because it is a digital, well organized pictures. I was watching the picture and I saw a boy, saw a little boy. The boy was looking so innocent. The picture was the picture captivated me that I started remembering my son. I was thinking about my son, and on that picture, the boy was waving his hand. So I now try to picture the boy, how innocent the boy was looking at. Maybe though he was standing with someone on the picture. But then I look at my son's own. I'm not here for him, not here anywhere for him to see me. But here, this boy is standing, waving his hand. So I try to imagine that imagine within that picture, and then I wrote that poem. So I tried to count time, boy, and what pictures speaks. I mean, picture speaks. Picture was speaking, but then it's only to those who have taken their time to know, the innocency in that picture and what the picture is speaking about. That can really tell of what this guy or this little child is going through. So on that note, I wrote that particular poem. And quite fortunate enough, I sent it out to a great paper, and I think after writing, I really need then I sent it out to great paper, and lo and behold, it was accepted. So that particular poem speaks to me as a father, speaks to my son, Subit Chidede Mongeche, and speaks to my family, speaks to, I mean, little children that maybe the both parents, the mother and the father, decided to go their separate way, and not minding what this children or this child, this boy is going through, not seeing the other party always or then seeing other persons in the family, not the father. So I tried as much as possible to recollect and then tell that story. Because I don't know if I can read that well from here as well, because there was a place I tried to sell that if the mother considered or the parents considered their separation more than your child's brokenness. The poem goes live on Monday. Yeah, live on Monday on Rich Pepper. So once the poem goes on live, I'm pretty sure they, they link to that. So that was what really inspired that. So after writing the picture, I quickly write to the page that I love this guy. I love this guy who posted on this picture on this platform. So I love the guy, and I tried to know the boy's name. Boy's name was said the owner of that particular page said the boy's name is Wiko. Waiko. So I wrote to him and said, your the picture you posted there on Facebook inspired me to write a poem, and this is the poem. I sent it out. Then if it is published, I will share. Meanwhile, tell the boy that someone from Nigeria loves him. No matter whatever the boy is going through, but then I love the boy.
Wow, wow. What an interesting take there about life and about how, geopolitics has come to affect the ways we get to do things. It shows the real sense of cosmopolitanism and how we, at the moment, currently get to understand stuff. But then, take us a bit back to your own upbringing and ordinarily what influenced you down this particular path you found yourself now in writing. And first, Nigeria, one way or the other, definitely would be involved in in the things that could influence you down this particular line. Can you just walk us, like in very short terms, family life and how things have become?
All right. I grew up in the family that, although my father reads English language, but not that fluent. Yeah, my father reads English. For them, we are born and brought up Jehovah's Witnesses. Okay? At the time, I no longer find the ideology what I think I should go at. So my father would always sat us down. I read the Igbo Bible and we listened. And at the time too, he bought there was one Igbo one of the Igbo language we bought for them, known as Azundu. So that Azundu was what my father was asking us to read. Myself, I was not finding it easy to read, but then my father happens to be a Biafran person, so my father fought in the Biafran Nigeria, and he said no more sense. So when he bought that particular book, mandated us that we must read that from beginning to the end. So that was how I started reading Igbo. Then I feel like I can write Igbo. Then the English language, since it was not reading an English text, so we find it difficult to learn English language. So fast forward to uh, family crisis and all that, because my mom and my dad finally later separated. So when we moved down to my maternal home, I thought to myself that I think I need to know how to read and write while I was in primary school. Read my primary six, then I read, but not that much. But then when I get to JSS one, I was reading. But one thing with this part of the world is that books are not always available. Most families, yeah, since books are not available for most families, and no good library there. Yeah, even in school then too. Yeah, also good library then, but then the little money we could save from the many job we are doing as children then, as kids then I was able to buy the one I think is able to school, but
Nigerian.
that was how I developed that interest. So when I go to JSS 3 first time, Then my mother died when I was in primary six. So my grandfather now happens to be one of elites, like people who went to school in Afra community. Yeah. The Afra happened to be my maternal uncle. That is where I came. So the man was someone who loved education. One of my poems, so I tried to acknowledge him. There was a certain time he went to my school and reported them to that I wasn't attending classes. So and yeah, something happened here. Okay, now on Facebook, yeah, there was a day John Ifani. There was a day he posted something on Facebook. His mother, he's a teacher. Yeah, John happens to be my friend on Facebook. So he's a teacher from Anambra State. John told me he wrote something on Facebook that mother came to report I think child to him. And at the end of the day, it was like a dear mother like this. No, during that time, I recall my grandfather took me, reported me to the school. So the school now sent my friend promise to come and deal me to come out from because they know that if they come to the house, maybe I might likely run away. So my friend came to the house and asked me, "How come let's go and see something at the train?" So immediately I would set that like on the that definitely minus I got free. So when I got to the playground, you ran more than 15 students, and the teacher was there with them. They caught me. My friend called me, and they gathered me, and they lifted me up, took me to school that day. And my name become like I was like, you know, shame and everything. I was trying to struggle, but then more than 15 person, only one person. So then they took me to school. Then the teacher was now told me what happened. They flogged me, and so that was how the man loved education. To I that is a father's love. But then I wasn't. I wrote in that poem that my father saw something that I wasn't able to see as a child then. Yeah, and that thing he saw in me today is what I'm living at today. Yeah, I'm living it out
Wow,
today.
what a life! At least I know people born in the 21st century probably might not get to understand this type of situation whereby the parents get to report their children to other family members to get to do one or two things to them and stuff like that. You also see this also in the very beginning of Obioma Chigoze's current book. The protagonist, one of the main characters in the book, the
Yeah,
the uncle came to visit him in his hostel and told him, you have to go see your father and your mother and stuff like that. And that
yes,
sense
yeah,
of that sense of from the very beginning of the book, you get to see that he is already talking about family life. He's already talking about how things ordinarily get to do. And we know nowadays people talk about the idea of discipline a child as if you are doing something very, very wrong, as if you are doing something very, very out of place. Meanwhile, the Bible, if we are to go by biblical terms, in Proverbs chapter 20, verse 30, it says, severe beating can cleanse away evil spirits from the body, and the
yeah,
blueness of a wound can get. So I'm not here championing, spanking and stuff like that. I'm just saying discipline in whatsoever manner we ordinarily ought to do saved your life one way or the other. And somebody saw that at the point, John wasn't really doing stuff the way he was supposed to do. And to the best of that person's abilities, he took
yeah,
you to
yeah, yeah.
the person took you to where he thinks uh,
Handle this.
can help. And so, with such a moment, I believe it's not maybe the defining moment in your career, but at least probably it's something you can still remember clearly at the moment. Can
Yeah.
you give us at what point did you come to tell yourself, this writing, I think I want to become a poet? Is it something you sat down to think about, or is something that came to
No,
you and you found your
no. When I moved down to Port Harcourt, okay, when I moved down to Port Harcourt, I started selling books. Yeah, the
okay?
first business I did, yeah, I started selling motivational books and then other literary works like that. So then I read this guy, James Allen, who wrote, yeah, one of those
As
historical,
a, as a man,
yeah, as man thinketh, as man
yeah, as a
thinketh,
man
yeah.
thinketh, rather, as a man thinketh,
Um,
it's one of
I,
his
I read
famous works,
Yes, I read that book. I read it back to back. And I had to go
and it's a
and print.
very, it's a very small collection.
I read it. I read it like I read it. I said, God, what kind of book is this? So I had to download it, go to a business center, print it out, like print it, and then I have it in my house. That becomes like a sermon to me. Early morning, I wake up, I read it. It's okay. Now, what I did was like, okay, I started sharing that book with my WhatsApp contacts. So it's not that long, but anyway. As I started in court, then my defining moment in writing comes 2020. Yeah, when I got admission, in the university, studying history and international relations in the university.
Yeah.
Yeah, then COVID came in. I got admission in 2019, and then later, ending part of 2020, COVID came in. So when the COVID then came in, where I work, they stopped us from coming to the office. Yeah, I work as a security man. Yeah, with MTN. While my main company is Hamilton Security, so I work as third party employee to MTN. So MTN asked their contract staff to stop like security. So I was among people they asked to stay at home. So during that COVID-19, I felt like I was reading things on Facebook, somebody like Jachi, Ayato, and Bruce Poet, and other words like that. I was reading the thing you were putting up. I said, this kind of writing. I know one of my friends was into this Jews. I said, okay, I think I can write something like this. And then this thoughts, it's not that broad, not that wide, it's not something you start writing anywhere. Like with a few things, you can just say what you want to say. I said, okay. I started writing that 2020. That was when I took something like quick into my consideration. I started writing. But ordinarily before this time, I was just sharing things I read out from the books I read. And once I even thought chatting talk, I shared with my friends on my WhatsApp. When I was selling these books, I was sharing thoughts to my WhatsApp contacts. So one of the days I share all my contacts. I mean all my contacts. Not minding who doesn't want it or not. So I shared it to a reverend father. A reverend father who happens to be is a relative, okay, from my mother's place. Yeah, he's in Germany. Now I shared my WhatsApp post with him. So one of the days he asked me, "What are you doing?" Anyway, your messages I read them and they are inspiring. Do you consider going to school? I told him that I would love to go to school, but then look at the whole thing. After the death of my parents, I am not voting is more of me. Like I have younger ones I'm taking care of, but then I have the mind to go to school, but I don't have the means. And I dropped out from school when I was in JSS3. Yeah. So I told him, yes, if I see something like that, I will go, but not now because I need get money now. So if I asked him to sponsor me to make to boost up my business. But he told me that he doesn't have that kind of money. But then if I think of going to school, that's going to sponsor me to go to school. And one of those days, I was one of these persons that believe that prayers works. Yeah, prayers. I don't mean when you start when you're supposed to do something, you don't do it. But then you think that no, I don't mean that. What I mean is when you have anything you want to be committed into the hands of God and you work towards that, I believe you actualize that. So one of the days I pray that God and I need to go to school, but then I don't have the money. But I believe that somebody is going to pay my school fees from my year one to my final. So the father told me that if I consider that I should get back to him. Yeah. Then that the next year, then we met with his younger brother wedded in 2010 thereabouts. We met somewhere, or 2017 rather. We met the wedding. We discussed. Then 2018, I went with my lesson with Wike. I went Wike that year, 2018. Then 2019, I got admission to study this. So now that is two. But 2019, 2020 was the year that I started writing poetry. Now I saw publications. Okay. Then I was in the small phone then. I saw how people were, posting their publications. I said, okay, let me try one of these magazines. So I reading. And then I go to Google, search for how they submit their works and all that. Then I got to these guys. All before now, I was just doing copy and paste, copy and paste. I copy people's work and I copy people's writing and then I paste on my wall, share with my friends.
when you say copy and paste, like copy and own it, or copy and acknowledge them as.
Yeah, copy and acknowledge the author of that particular.
Yeah, just so our viewers get it clear, the idea of just copying and pasting. That's why I needed to clarify that copying it and then also acknowledging.
No, I never owned any of those work because
because we live in an era where many persons, and I see it also online, and it's kind of very, very disturbing, the idea of plagiarism, when you just outwardly get to copy somebody's work and then get to claim it. And it doesn't really take so much if you can copy something, you can ordinarily put in the person's name, and if you're not sure where you are getting it from, you either do a little bit of research, or you just say unknown, but not claiming it to be your own work. And it is very interesting to see how far you have come in the literary scene within a short period of time, as it concerns the backdrop and the background upon which your life was placed, and how you have come to navigate through different situations. And I come to appreciate your scholarship on different levels, as it concerns also what you decided to study. What about diplomacy? What about that? Why did you choose to go to the diplomatic world?
Ordinarily, I wanted to study law, but then after the Wike, I got F9 in my literature. Yeah. So I decided to research and look for a course that I consider my schooling as an opportunity, which I never wanted to miss. And no matter what happens, I never wanted to miss that opportunity. So I searched on Google that courses I can do that or literature. Then I saw the market story. Now sometimes this guy something he was one time international criminal court chairman or president thereabouts. So I read it. I read his biography, like the ones he put out online. I read it online. I love this guy. I love his heights and strong in life. So his profile is it motivated me to think of studying law. So one I could not get that not pass my literature. Yeah, I said okay. Let me see something that is related to national and then I find history and international relations. So though in my school, initially though diplomacy is a minor course. Like if we have to go like the standard of the world, minor, because eventually history then that one is a minor course. So, but then I love it because it discusses about words, government, nation, and all that. So, yeah, I'm equally into that. So, I think that if I'm to order my studies tomorrow, I think I'll be going for more on diplomacy or international relations. Yeah. So, I'm equally still in the track, no matter what.
So, how? Yeah, I can see where the link, as it concerns cosmopolitanism, is also coming from, and it's a very important thing. The idea of international relations and how we as Africans ordinarily can come to relate and interact with the modern world today, because I think it's a place where we as a people at the moment are lagging behind. The relationship between Nigeria and the rest of, when I mean the rest of the world, I mean the so-called guys in power. It reminds me of the person that comes to mind here is Chinua Achebe, when he talks about in the education of the British protected child. He talked about the relationship has never been a relationship of two equals. It has been a relationship almost in and about the master and the slave, or the master and the servant. And with people like you and the studies you guys get to do, I think we can one day get to achieve that particular balance, whereby we talk about the idea of coming to the table on a round table and coming to have real-time conversation. And yeah, so it's in and about that. And how does this sense of your studies of diplomatic relations get to affect your writing process? And how do you source for the things you get to write? Do you write out of just immediate reaction to things, or you get to set out things you plan before you get to write about them?
Yeah, as a history student, I have been commercially submitted for the publication, which I believe that to come out with. Yeah, I try as much as possible to write about the moment, and then I write about the moment and relating it to the past. Yeah, because one of my poems that was published with the Skyline journal, my poetry magazine. So I discuss about the current Israel and the Palestinian war and Hamas and Israel war in Palestine. Now I look at it that when this whole thing started, uh, it was Israel protect your nation, protect your border, protect everything. But when the killing started, nobody started right. It's no longer protect yourself. It was not from human. You are killing innocent children. There is the killing of innocent children. Brother. So, and then I related to Holocaust. Then it was something that they were doing to satisfy their displeasing humanity. Because what matters here is about humanity. That's all. So I write about the moment and I relate it with the past. Now calling the future that we think we have is the now that we have. Because if you are thinking of future, yesterday we are thinking of today, and today is here. So how do you prepare today matters what happens tomorrow. So my poetry discusses about the moment, the past, and what I think the future will be. Yeah, that's what I write.
Wow, that is an important thing to look at. I was having a conversation with somebody who spent a great chunk of her life in South Africa, and she came up with the whole idea of the past is the past and let the past be the past. And I don't believe the past can just be the past. Though someone like Jordan Peterson will get to postulate the idea that our past cannot ordinarily get to determine our future, which is a thing that is to a large extent true because the future is different. At least that's what he postulates. But the idea there is that we cannot just write the past completely, because if your father had not met your mother, you wouldn't have been here. If my father had not met my mother, we wouldn't have been here. So we cannot just write that completely off. But it doesn't also mean that because of the levels, our backgrounds, ordinary get to influence us, we just get to continue our life and then live our life. It's such a very, very important thing for us to get to bear in mind. But then a little digression. The current situations in the country, from our current realities as Nigerians and with the way things are at the moment, do you think someone like Chinua Achebe got it right when he said the problem with Nigeria is simply and squarely a failure of leadership?
Yeah. The leadership, the role of the leadership in the country is really affecting Nigeria as a country. Because sometimes I imagine, uh, imagine a sitting president leaving one country to a foreign country for meditation. Where ordinarily there is a bill passed into law that's supposed to have taken care of, meditations in the country. So you now ask yourself, why then, if the country's health institution cannot take care of the president, why then putting such a huge amount of money into that place? So you end up seeing that the whole thing is just like a scam. Who are you scamming? Still the company, the people. It was tax paying money. It's something we are still using you know, to travel and go here and there, seeking seeking foreign meditations. We are ordinary youth. I think in one of my writing too, I discussed that oh, not everyone trying to run away from God. If the president is run away from God, then what happens to the masses? So leadership is a very big challenge when it comes to Nigeria. as a country.
How do people vote in Rivers State? Rivers State has been in the news in the last 6 months for a whole lot of issues. The idea of if we were to span back a little bit, back to 1998 when the current republic was taking its shape, and then we saw the elections that saw people come in, and there have been lots of active political actors in the scene right from that period up until now. How can you just walk us through how elections are conducted in a place like Rivers State and by large also probably Nigeria, because it's almost the same thing? Like, what are the typical things we get to see, and what are the things you think we are not doing right, and what are the things you think we can actually get right, and what are the things you think we are doing well that we should maintain, other things you think we should improve on?
Yeah, the first one this kind of question that the best I think the first people I have to learn because okay the elections that happens in Nigeria are the first people I think I need to learn is the INEC officials. Okay, now River State, I really River State for the past for the past 15 days now. No, River State as a state, like the last presidential election. Okay, I wanted to vote. I mean, I was ready to vote. And now look at this. I was recently from my call, so I lived here for the past 5 years. I live back in my call as so, and my voters card has the right to vote in that area. Now, I watched the recent election, the just completed election, US election, where people were voting for like 2 days, even 3 days before the main day. No, you ask yourself, what kind of
But
politics are we?
it's the voting. Let me cut you short. Is the voting 2-3 days before the elections? Is it enshrined in the constitution of the state or the country, or is just something that happens as a result of people doing their stuff? Because, like, in the US, there's early voting and stuff like that. Is it the same thing that is prevalent in Nigeria or in Rivers State, or people just do this out of their own volition?
No, this it doesn't happen here. What I'm saying is this. Now, the elections in River State that I've witnessed is something that's even before the before the election day, you you will be so afraid to even move back because why? Before the election, we already started hearing the news of killing here and there. So that makes it now that even that made the you not even be as free as to say, okay, want to step out of your house. Yes, that is the situation. Because if I don't think we should hide it. So without fear only because we hear that this person someone has been shot there, so place, they went for rally and they are so those stories now makes people don't go out for even the main election day. Like myself, I don't go out because why? You hear one story that some place somebody was shot there, and end of the day, nobody accounts for those deaths. But, that is the one reality here in Nigeria. People die, nobody accounts for it. And when you hear that somebody, a Nigerian or an African person is killed overseas, you want to start a protest. You want to start a protest here. You want the president to say something. Meanwhile, ordinarily here in Nigeria, people being killed. Nobody talks about those things. So elections in the state has always been if you have the mind to go out, you can go out. Then even while you are voting there, even at the polling station, if you are at the voting point, people are being intimidated. I mean, you go to a police station, you will hear someone telling you that if you are not voting for social party, you're not voting for social candidate, you shouldn't even try to hear because as you are here, they will not allow you to vote that person. At the end of the day, you see that your voting doesn't even honestly it doesn't count. Because if somebody can stand on the police station where there is a police attached to that polling unit and tell you that you are to vote for a certain candidate and nobody question these people, then you know that there is a problem. Like the OB just OB's election and so I trekked all the way from Garrison if you know the distance between Garrison to my four, because there was no, I trekked from Garrison to my four because that is where my voters card has strength to vote. Then I think that is another thing the INEC is supposed to have corrected by now. You can vote from anywhere. They should make this vote. You can vote from anywhere, even if you are in the US. Maybe they make a platform where you can vote, vote online. So I checked from here to my four. Getting to my four, the accreditation. The means of accreditation. What is accreditation? I take that in as maybe the means of rigging the election. Because how would you say somebody who has registered, who has a voter's card, we need to be accredited again before the person will vote. At the end of the day, you find out that we are accreditation, time, you see that people, either the machine will not read their card or something of that nature, So at the end of the day, somebody will check all these things, will suffer from himself to come out. And at the end of the day, we didn't vote because what? The machine do not read your card. So this thing should and you hear the amount of money they spend in getting these machines, these givers and all the rest machines to the country. To say, where are we going? So I went down to that place to vote for the candidate I think that should lead Nigeria in the next for the next 4 to 8 years. I went there to vote for. Getting to that place, accreditation, the machine was failing. Then they said something they needed to bypass the security and all that. They did that, and people started voting. They didn't vote that. What the voting was going. I mean, at Nike's backyard, this place, this whole community, that is where my voters card has to vote.
Who is that?
Yeah, Governor Wike, former governor of River State. My dad is where I live in this community.
Like, yes. The name is following him. Like,
so
the name of the local government is following.
Yeah, I was there. The voting was so slow. At the end of everything, even before the closing time, group of guys, boys, the vehicle open, all the doors were open. They came with the Sienna. All the doors were open. Machetes, guns, they came to that polling unit and asked everybody to stop. The policemen there, they didn't say anything. They came down from their vehicle, asked everybody to stop. So when everybody stopped, they all the ballot box and everything and went away. So at the end of the day, all my struggle, all my time wasted was I could not even vote. But when the result came out, they said that particular polling unit that current president won that particular unit. Then I was asking, how was this possible? Because I know what happened there. These are the challenges that facing the ordinary Nigerians. Where the
just a question. These youths, I don't even want to call them youths because to be a youth in Nigeria can be a whole lot of things. Somebody can be 60 years and still be a youth chairman. I don't even want to use the idea. Let's call them for what they are. These dogs that allow themselves to be used as machines to carry out heinous crimes by politicians. Do these politicians get to tell them when central bank is recruiting for new staff? Do they get to hear from the people they ordinarily clamor for, or is just a thing that can just go away? What are the benefits of being a dog in Nigeria or in River State?
Well, what I see, the after election, what I see, you see a group of boys, a group of youths who around snapping pictures, putting on the internet. Because I think Facebook give them that liberty to post pictures, unlike Twitter where you have access to post and look for pictures post. So, but Facebook give them that right to post as many pictures as they can. So, all at the end of the story and everything, all you get is either you go and sit down and drink alcohol and grab your stuff, anything personal. That is all. Nothing. Maybe the next 4 years again, you want to grab a laptop. That is that.
Let's assume they are given 10, 20, 30, 40,000 naira. Let's even assume they are giving these guys 100, 200,000 naira to do this toggery. I think you and I, to a large extent, can categorically say it's not the case. that these guys get up to that amount of money. Do they know the implication of them making things violent? Because like in the last elections last year, I was in the country, but I couldn't vote also because of the issue you're talking about. The state where I found myself was not a place I could ordinarily get vote. And the plans of me being in Nigeria also was not like all at once checked. So the place I couldn't vote. But at least in your case, you could ordinarily get to vote. So you exercise your right. But there is this lady who got, I think, macheted, who got a
Yeah,
serious scar on
yeah,
her face. And the person that wielded the machete that ordinarily left such a person with such a scar, the person knows himself. Till today, till tomorrow. I know you're not a psychologist, but can you walk me through the mind of this person and the psychology they get to examine for themselves, and as to how they ordinarily function and feel okay doing the things they get to do, knowing fully well that the country they live in can be better. Because what is 100,000, what is 200,000, what is 300,000 compared to what they can ordinarily get? Because DK Chukwumerije also, about the same time this happened, said something. He said nobody steals political power and uses it well. Or maybe probably we are getting it wrong. Is it the case that when they help these people to steal political power, they can ordinarily get to live in the same country, or they get rewarded, them, their family, and every other person? And can you walk? I know you're not a talk, but can you just, like, as a poet, you are you're like the doctor of the society. Like, can you help us walk around their psychology?
yeah. What you see is that there is a way most persons and most persons are wired, like when it comes psychologically and mentally. No, you will see during it was sorry, and somebody came up and said I will continue from where it stops. Then when the night the current political party that is ruling Nigeria as a nation now, the night they did their their internal voting to settle who's going to be their flag there for the presidency. Yeah, then Akpabio was equally contested, and also many other persons we are contesting for this position to become the president. But like Akpabio, whom we think is young enough, stepping down for Tinubu on that very night. They present what happens to others to like be on that very day. See, this persons, these people, this person or this people. No, they don't have conscience. I mean, these people are their conscience are there because I could remember in Nyesom something happened because of the same election. A young person like I was said, like who has the government? I fought another government and I died. Well, at the end of the day, when he was out, he started, he started really begging and getting. The other thing was, why did you even bring up gun in the first place? Pull a trigger to kill someone, and you know you are begging. No, at that point in time, when it comes to election period, Togri and all these guys, what they do is, I don't know if there's anything to take. Like, they are being so, I mean, they are being controlled by, I don't know if it's I mean, yeah, let me use that part as an example. Somebody who's being controlled by that's cheap or shit. Now, this person began to misbehave. That at the end of everything, when they take the spot from the system, the person started, realizing that he seems that made a very big mistake. But you've done the damage, That is the whole thing. Come on.
Do you think it's do you think it's a do you think it's a case of them being intoxicated, or you think it's a case of them ordinarily just being naive and uneducated to the extent whereby they cannot even tell themselves what ordinarily truth is? I know alcohol can be a contributing factor, but is that the main factor? I think for me, I want to think lack of education and how to look at brain dead and looking into the future. I think it's something we should ordinarily look at also. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah. Those people who you get this insults to, they don't even believe what they don't even know what praise. You talk about it, they take praise more. Yeah, they believe that the now is what they have. So the tomorrow you're talking about, they don't believe that. So they think anything they want to do, like they do it now because there's no place for tomorrow for them. That's what they believe. You can't imagine some killing another human because of a political party or because of somebody you are trying to vote. You are trying to exercise your your rights. Okay. So you bring out a gun and kill the person. No. It's just that most of these persons are, when you look at them, you look at their life, there's no future. The future they have is just the now. And that now, they are ready to do anything to make sure that their now is what everybody must believe on. So with that, we have to say no to them from the moment.
It's it's such a very pathetic situation that we find ourselves in a country where we ordinarily sometimes want to always blame the government and tell ourselves, those in power are the problems of the country. That not being taken away, it doesn't also take away the fact that we also have contributed one way or the other as it concerns how things are badly done and how things are not properly looked at in a place like Nigeria. And with this crop of guys being elected, we tend to have things like poor governance, and they get to exhibit levels of nonchalance and levels of indifference to the poverty being meted out to the ordinary Nigeria. And I say this because I don't think there are ambulance made available for public use in I don't want to exaggerate, but I know where my mom lives, and I know the people that live around there, and I have friends who categorically would say to me, we don't have ambulance running in our place. Talk more of hospitals. Is that the situation around the part you find yourself? Are there ambulance doing the works of ambulance? Not people use ambulance to carry dead body as opposed to making use of hires. The hire was supposed to carry the dead body, and then the ambulance was supposed to carry sick people. If somebody falls sick, do they call an ambulance in Nigeria, or do they pray to God?
The last time well, while I was still tender, that was all I was saying that what I saw there was, what they use in carrying a dead body, like I said, okay, because there's something like an ambulance. Yeah, even in Nigeria, what you see is what
So
they
then
carry.
you are saying there are no ambulance running in the state, River State,
You only see those. You only is either those are owned by private individuals
and they are not there for public. They are not there for public. Is there a number you can dial when you are having an emergency to get to call, and then you get a rescue team come to you? Let's say somebody is barging into your house. Probably somebody wants to come arrest you. No, somebody wants to come rob you or stuff like that. Is there like a speed dial you can dial without a phone, just like without a proper internet secular connection for, let's say, the police, the security operatives to come to your rescue? Is there anything like that?
there is no because you're talking about something like 911, right? Something like
Something
911.
like 911, something like
Yeah,
emergency dials and stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah. There's nothing like that. And to an extent, now you look at yourself that there is in a situation that's maybe something of that such happens. You understand? You find yourself that see, okay, something happened when back at one of the days. So a guy was uploading. They were transloading the rice from a truck to a warehouse. So and it rained that day. So it was raining, and the light there was still NEPA light. So mistakenly, the guy touched a pole. And
He
that
got
way that
electrocuted.
it was electrocuted. When the guy fell off from that from where he was standing,
Yeah.
everybody was just looking at the guy. At the time,
So
some
they didn't
person
even know what to do.
what to do, understand? So they went there to they carried the boy from the place and drop on the main road, as in the major road. And the people we are just running here, that's scatter like nobody was, and the guy was dying. At the end of the day, the
And
guy
so
died.
like it's
There
just
was
like a
nothing.
video I saw recently on the internet where I think
Okay,
it was a prank.
Yeah,
It was
the girl with the brother
the
said,
girl was just like, and
yeah, she
then
was,
the guy was like, if this was a real time situation, is this how you would have responded? And I think it's not a thing peculiar to one person. I think it's a thing we also as Nigerians ordinarily have to come to also tell ourselves that we are very, I don't want to use the word backwards because it looks as though you want to say that and it looks as if you are looking down on your people. But if that is the truth, why not say it? Then one of the philosophers will say, if the truth, Nietzsche will say, if the truth would kill them, let them die. Why not face our problems the way we face our problems? And things like first aid, I doubt if our slave queens and our sagging brothers and sisters, if our youth, if ourselves can ordinarily respond in terms of emergency, we're not even talking now of the possibility of even calling an emergency number to come rescue us. We're talking about ourselves. Somebody got electrocuted and there's almost no way out for such a person to ordinarily get to survive. So Nigeria gets to happen to the person, not necessarily because the government have failed, but because we ourselves, we have failed ourselves as it concerns even coming to learn the basic things we ought to do to see to it that life becomes better.
yeah, yeah. That is the whole thing.
This person in question, what happened to the person?
Yeah, he died. The guy died. At the end of the day, the guy died. No, now look at it. When you see, like I go to some place sometimes when I was working somewhere here, right, you know, we see people loading dead bodies to the church. I don't want to mention the name of the church here.
Wait, I want to get you right before you continue. There's almost nothing that is not possible in a place like Nigeria. People load dead bodies to the church.
Yeah.
Now, I want to know if I get you right. I'm not having problems with hearing. I'm not having problems with listening to what you're saying, but I
Okay.
just want to be sure for levels of emphasis that people load dead bodies. I don't know the story, but so we can continue with the
it's
story.
something
Just
you
emphasis
see
on
for the first time,
loading
second
dead
time.
bodies to the church.
It's no
Okay.
longer something. It's no longer. It becomes like it's like a normal thing to them. Okay. It's just like a normal thing. So they will carry dead bodies to the church, and there's some group of young guys, young men like you and myself, dressed all well, talking. They are mostly white and every time and everything. Saying that they are men of God who move down from the church to come and pray for somebody whom ordinarily supposed to have been taken to the hospital if at all the person is still alive at that stage. They are coming to the church. They are coming to the church for those people to pray for them. We are ordinarily these persons in that dire condition supposed to have been to the hospital. Any medical attention, when you see them taking the person to the to the church for them to be prayed for. And at the end of the day, these people or these persons die because of, I mean, don't know, the family they come from happens to them, the country as the place happens. I mean, bad leadership and everything has happened to this. Even Nigeria as a country happens to them. Because why? We think that everything, I don't know. I think I'm writing something here. I'm writing a memoir. I'm writing a memoir. In one of these memoirs, I talked about my mother. Talked about my mother. My mother, I discussed about my mother because why? While I was growing up, my mother was diabetic. My mother was diabetic, and she was going after all these church, prayer house, seeking for solution. We are ordinarily, if the country we are living in is functioning, she would have gone for proper medications and not just running after prayer house to one pastor to the other. And these people, we are busy taking her money. So these are the realities of Nigerians here.
And is it the case that when poor people go to church, not even poor necessarily, just when anybody gets to go to church to ask for prayers from God, from these men of God, is it the case that they ask for money from them or they just go about solving the people's problems? You really ask them to bring money, like in the situation of your mom.
And most of these people, they will tell you, okay, you come now, you come, you need to buy this, that, buy that, and they need to use this player and that player. At the end of the day, they will send it to their store. They own the stores. They own those stores. You go there to spend that money. So you buy those items and get back to them. They start making those prayers within the church premises here. So these are the things you see here. We are
So they buy
ordinarily
things like candles, olive oil.
and all those, they are nonsense. They bring it and then you start praying, and at the end of the day, the person died. Because what? Where? No, and sometimes I ask myself, where is the place of God in some certain things? Place of God. I think we need to understand the place of God in some certain issues, some certain conditions and situations of life. Because some days I was telling my friend that, see, there are things ordinarily we think that it's religion. No, but this is not religion. You can't take religion to certain places. There is God,
Yeah.
yes, but what you are supposed to be, you should not be left. God has given you this and this. So then you fail to use this and this, then you think that God should come and do it. No, I don't think that is reality for me. That is not reality for me.
Yeah, Saint Augustine, the African brother and bishop, and he's the most read Catholic theologian. He's the most read theologian in the realms of theology. He said something before he died. He said, "God who created us without us cannot save us without us." It looks as if it's a tautology. It looks as if he's saying the same thing, but it's not saying the same thing. It's like God created you without your permission, but he cannot save you without your permission. Many persons will have a problem with that, but at least if we are to go with that by way of just buttressing our point, come to understand that the earth is the Lord, but then he has given it to us to ordinarily get to, if we are to hold the idea of a God from the anthropomorphic perspective we're looking at, he has given the earth to us. If you open the ground and plant the seed and close the seed, in a short period of time, there will be a harvest out there.
Yeah.
The guys in the science is the guys in the hospitals and these different places are not there to be spited upon, are there to ordinarily be appreciated for the work they do. So what is the basis upon which these men of God try to pull these stones they try to pull? Are they trying to pull these stones to ordinarily prove a point that, they are miracle workers, or they are trying to prove their delusion, and they're trying to prove their ignorance? Because I don't see why somebody would ordinarily be sick and go to the church when the right place to go to is in the hospital. But sometimes you can't. Can you really blame these persons when they fall to the hands of God as the last resort?
Another thing is the human psychology of it. Most times people are defined by what keep hearing and keep practice. Maybe if you keep hearing a particular thing from time to time, before you know it, you start registering within your mind and becoming part of you. These men of God, so-called men of God, I mean, they are just here deceiving these people. They're not here deceiving them because you wouldn't tell me that they are the same men of God. They go to hospitals, yeah. They go to hospitals, big hospitals, and take care of themselves, good care of themselves. But then telling the other their followers to believe or drink this water, take this one, and take this one. But ordinarily they are going for good hospitals. Now, in the case of most, they tell them in message they told them, like the preaching, and what they preach to them is what really makes them to begin to think otherwise. Where ordinarily people are supposed to be taken to the hospital, but they see these people taken to the church. At the end of the day, the person died. And then they make it to begin to ask questions about God and our human problem. Yeah. So anyway, let's not talk about them so much because
So much, yeah. It's quite unfortunate that we live in that particular dispensation, and many persons just try to wave the influence of how negatively religion can be wielded against the people. A thing that made someone like Karl Marx get to say, religion is the opium of the masses. And I think when people go to these churches and they try to look for solutions where answers are not ordinarily supposed to be gotten from, I think what they get to come to experience is a level of delusion and a level of despair they get to fall into. And I think this leads people more to become atheists than even the number that ordinarily should be. Because when you grow up and you are told from your childhood up until when you get old that you can only get help from heaven, you can only get help from the supernatural, from the metaphysical, as opposed to the physical, as opposed to the basic things you get, and you get to hear these men of God say these things over and over and over and over again. It leads you to question a whole lot of things. Take, for instance, someone like Apostle John Suleiman. You know, the whole idea of his son in the Lord entering from one airport and coming out in another airport. Meanwhile, France and Germany all belong to the EU. So it's among the European Union. And you can easily go by way of train, by way of bus even, to these countries. You don't even need a visa. If you are living in Germany, you don't need a visa to go to France. I say this because I currently live in Europe, and I know how many countries you can traverse. I know how many countries you can travel to and come back without getting a visa. You just need to get a valid ticket. You need to get a valid train ticket, or you need to get a valid flight ticket, or you go with a car and have the necessary papers and pay the necessary toll gates that will see to it that you enter another country. That's if you are driving on your own. As opposed to that kind of story. And when people are fed with these type of stories that ordinarily can be questionable, stories like Pastor Chris raising only God knows how many people from the dead with no trace to we ordinarily coming to verify such, or someone like Jeremiah in the Niger Delta area coming to do all the stuff, even God speaking to him into a camera, and we capturing the voice of God as if we are listening to Jones. God rest Mr. Jones' soul. He was the only man, at least in the entertainment industry, that came to have the voice of God. But even at that, it's a different thing. But when people get to see these things over and over and over again, it becomes also a problem. And just like you said, we shouldn't dwell on this particular place or these particular people a lot. Moving back to the literary scene, are there people, authors, poets, literary figures, fiction writers, and or non fiction writers that you look up to, or those that have influenced your style of writing, or you are entirely charting a new course for yourself?
Okay. I write, or most times I tell my friends that I write about my story and the things I witness within and around me. Yeah, and there are poets that I read their works and there is not well with me. Yeah, I think when I started reading, I read the works of Biringkpa. I read his works and the works resonate well with me, and I think the way he plays with language, works are very simple, and yeah, I read his work and it resonate well with me. And currently reading the whole of collections of poems, people like Patmos, people like Taris Promo, Taris language is simple as I read his publications, and I learned too. I learned. Well, then, in recent time, I began to question some certain things like uh, stories we write about as a people.
Yeah, we've talked about a lot of things. We've talked about the troubles with publishing. We've talked about church life and all that. How do people get published in Nigeria?
Okay, for myself, all my publication has been something I write and send across to US, UK, and once they like the work, they publish the work, and then sometimes they send copies of that work for me, like the Garden of Greeks. Yeah, they sent 7 copies of those. Now, here in Nigeria, there is a problem with publishing. Okay, because it's not all about publishing a book. Another thing is the marketability of that book, selling the book, making the book available for readers. So all we see here is just uh, printing press kind of. People go and print a copy of their work and then buying it and send to people. But staying full-time publication of the book is not something you see. And then you look at Masobe books and the others. Masobe book is something that is it's not always easy to get into that place. Uh, yeah, it's not easy to get into Masobe book. Narrative landscape and other ones like that. The call for submissions, I think, once in a year or twice. So the numbers they take are very few. And at the end of the day, you see that most of these people they publish, it's either the person is a letter to them or this person has all the threats like money, kinds of money, or without disability. But saying that they pick somebody like me from a nowhere, coming from the village to back out and such things doesn't happen. So you end up seeing that people go to print their book on the printing place like a printing place. So they print their books and then read with their friends, and that ends the book. So you end up that this book is within the friends of this writer. But saying to say this book is outside their people talks about the book, no, doesn't happen there. So it becomes a problem for writers here. Writers, there are so many things people want to publish, but because no platform to, a good publishing place where they can publish this book, and then this book gets visibility. That is a problem. It's a problem. It's a problem in Nigeria now. Yeah.
Wow, that has been a very long time problem we've been having down there, and I hope we come to have things that ordinarily would come to look at it. And I know the government also have to make the policies that will be right for publication to ordinarily come to have its own fruition. And with people not having access to publish their work, and I believe it comes to affect the crop of readers back home, and the challenges continue to go one way or the other. But as it concerns the other challenges, how do people get to read? As in terms of readership, how have you guys been able to manage that? Like, let's say in a place like River State now, how do people get to know about people's work? If somebody gets published, is it from book clubs? Is it on going to the television to get to give a book campaign, or going for tours in universities?
Okay, like let me talk about in the back of the day we have so many literary with I belong to about two of them whereabouts. We have the ANA which covers the whole of Nigeria. River State has its
Okay.
own chapter. Yeah. So not every writer here in River State belongs to ANA. Okay. Not every writer here belongs to ANA. Now we have a NLS, the Nigerian Literary Society, and not every writer here too belongs to that group. So and other ones that maybe I'm not close to them, like that of the book club. Now, once these books are published, you will, like myself now, I've been trying to see how if I can organize a reading with Nigerian Literary Society, okay, for them to get my books printed here, but it's not that easy. It's not that easy. We end up that seeing that you publish your book, and this book it's not anywhere. But then getting the work to move is by organizing this reading with NLS, and then NLS now go to schools, other institutions, and then get them notified so that we are reading social book, and that book now you send like 8 copies to the NLS. NLS now will not share with some schools. So when the schools read that and see that the work is good, they will come back and they will attend the reading. So that is a means for books to be known within Papa there. But apart from that, now another thing is there was a time I wrote to Bookville. Bookville is a bookshop here. They sell books like Port Harcourt here, River State here. So
Okay.
they sell books. So that was the time I wrote to them. I wrote to them via mail and told them that I want to submit my works so that I get them a copy of it. So they arranged it and said okay, that's the one that they would like to sell it. Then gave me a contract kind of. So we signed the contract directly. So that is how another minutes again we now book free to organize this reading for their authors. The authors that are within Nigeria. Now even those outside Nigeria too. Whenever they visit Nigeria, they organize reading with their book fair and once book fair publicized it on their social media handles. From time to time, I attend those readings. So from there to come to know most of the then reading here, getting the buying books in Port Harcourt or Nigeria as a whole now is something else because book now to buy a book, a copy of book now is like 10 to 11,000 for one copy of book, and this would be then 400 pages or thereabouts. Okay, so that is another thing. So when you think of buying book, yeah, it's a problem. And let me say something again. Concerning publishing, when you see again, there are other small publishing firms, but I'm not that strong in terms of stability of that one.
Okay.
Understand? So, and if you want to publish with them, the price of publication is something else. Then you can most times you do that, you may not afford it. They will start telling you white paper, green paper, all that. Those are strategies that trying to make the publishing of books here more profitable. Say that white paper is it's not that costly, but the brand green paper is the costlier, just like that. At the end of the day, you end up writing and your book and the honest people stay inside and then come dust. So it's a challenge for writers in River State and Port and Nigeria as a whole. So many persons have something they can publish.
The challenges are enormous, and we still have a very, very long way to go as it concerns ordinarily coming to understand how publication ordinarily should go and how we ordinarily shouldn't do things. And I pray we come to that particular place. And in our subsequent conversation, I believe we will be able to look more into the challenges people get to face in terms of literacy levels and conversations that span other things that concerns an author in terms of the whole idea of traveling abroad to ordinarily or sending your works abroad to ordinarily get them published, because this institution that's function abroad don't function in isolation. They function in relation with the policies set up by their government and their people as to how things get to go. Publishing in the UK, publishing in the US, they all have political undertones and they all have things to do. And our ministries, be it from Ministry of Education to Ministry of Health to Ministry of Youth and Development, and the different things they get to do down there, would ordinarily come to look at these issues squarely to see that the country gets to go. At the moment, in 2025, at the beginning of the year, do you see the country moving in the right direction? Someone like P2B has come out to give a call to the president and all that, imploring the president to come out to make use of public services, to make use of different facilities to also ascertain how things are going for him. Do you see that happening anytime? So do you see him doing anything in that direction, or he would still be as adamant as he has been, knowing fully well that he has said he would maintain his convoy as opposed to cutting down other parastatals?
The present government of Nigeria now, it's in Nigeria, it's becoming a norm that the leadership of APC-led government they are deaf to the people's complaints. Yeah, it's becoming a norm for them. They don't hear the people's opinion. It's just that their own, what they are there for, what they are there to do, what they are there. Because you can imagine the Senate President during the end bad governance protest that the Senate President being goes to the party told the Nigerian that they should go and protest why they will stay in the Senate meeting. You see, so you now ask yourself that with this kind of statements, what would this government do for the people? What would this government? There is nothing. They are there to enrich themselves. That is the whole thing. It has been like that. It has been like that. Government comes in and all they after is looting, looting, and looting. So I think it was a administration. They are just there to still to take their own. Just imagine a president coming to somebody who is aspiring to be a president of Nigeria. Wow. All he said was, "It's my turn." So Nigeria as a state is now a thing of turn by turn. The leadership of Nigeria is now a thing of turn by turn. So when it is your turn, take your own and go. When it is my turn, you have to wait. Yeah. But until we start, you know, thinking this kind, taking this kind of thinking out from our mind, then that is when I think we're going to grow as a nation or a state in the international community. But for the fact that we are still having leaders like Tinubu who can only just say that it is his turn to rule, and for that reason that people should vote for him. Now, I read Obama's promised land. Yeah, promised land. Now, there was a statement in media during the time he wanted to be the president of America that it was he contested with Hillary Clinton. No, Hillary Clinton, the wife of former president. He made a striking statement about that book. The Clintons family has been in the system of power for over how many years? Over 30 years. They have been in the government. No, but he said when he came to contest as the president of America, he said that the at that point in time there was something the people needed. And the people needed something, something fresh, something different from what they have been seeing. Understand? No, you talk about that's the power of the people having a say in terms of governance. But in Nigeria and part of and Africa as a whole, you see, the people's voice is not always heard. It's either if the people start any protest, you see that it's either the government will send men against them, and at the end of the day, you find out that a lot of people will be killed just simply because they came out to protest for them, which is their right. Imagine the recent one that happened, like minors we are in prison for more than 90 days, and nobody talked about these things until their condition was so bad that they brought them to the court, and while they were in the court, one of them fainted, and the brother was crying. And imagine you took these children. Imagine two brothers from a family, two children from one family. It's what the parents are going through, and this no. What's that? And look at these leaders. They travel out of Nigeria. They travel abroad, and then you see them parade themselves. They are like while at home things are going wrong. So I'm not expecting anything different from what we see from APC-led administration and the governance of Nigeria now, the government of the APC and Nigeria as a whole. I'm not expecting anything different from what we have been experiencing. No. Now, I'm coming back to Obama's statement. Obama said the people needed something, and he was there to give them that. Okay? And he spoke to them, and he listened to. Now, Obi came up and said, "Youths, this is the time to take back your home." That statement alone that was what spurred me to say I am going to vote for, because it is high time the youth takes back their country. Okay, now, though I am not in support of military taking over governance and the leadership of Nigeria. No, I'm not in that. But to a certain stage in life, I try to compare the times of the military ruler, despite their own routine as well. But if you look at what the military did in the time past, like during the time they ruled Nigeria, you will see that they have a lasting legacy that democracy we say we are practicing today. In my state, Real State, you see, the past governor was just busy crossing bridges, crossing bridges. Who will cross bridges? This bridge, this and that. The one he did that in this state, yeah. That one was out of hatred of Igbos. He hated Igbos, so he just scattered their shop and built one nonsense thing called bridge. Nobody is using that bridge. The thing is as useless as. Understand? So this is the thing you see in Nigerian government. People bring out your hatred for a particular set of tribe and they go after them tooth and nail to make sure they bring them down. But you cannot bring this to them. That is by the way.
Yep.
Now,
So
when when we said take back your country, that should have motivated us even beyond what we did the last time. Make sure we bring Obi to the safe. Understand? But then the INEC and the judiciary, I think they play their own role by rigging the election and subverting judges and judgment and all that. We've seen it play. So I'm not expecting anything from anybody who stole or who manipulated his way into the seat of power. Now, did you know that during that election, they were shining dollars in River State? Yes. But now, like the other time, we'll talk about these people who are into thuggery. Thuggery. Because somebody gives you $1, maybe I have $50. $50, yes. Because I know so many persons come from the village to change their dollars, $50, $100, depending on where you work. All that. No, look at you are selling your rights for just $50. You are selling yourself into slavery for 4 years, not even just 4 years, because you look at maybe somebody who has ruled the first 4 years is going to rule the another 4 years, they make it 8 years. So let's assume this person is going to rule. So you are selling your rights for just $50. Then another thing that I asked is that what would $50 as if now? What $50 buy for in Nigeria?
It's the same question I started with you when I asked about the level of thuggery and how things ordinarily get to be done down there, and the answers are not far-fetched. It can do almost nothing. We can talk about the country's problem from today till tomorrow, but one thing we shouldn't do is the idea of giving up. James Baldwin would tell us that what do we want to tell our children? That there's no hope. We want to run into despair. And I don't believe we can run into despair. I don't think we should run into despair. I think they say Nigerians are carry last. We are resilient people. But my problem with our level of resilience is the idea of getting used to the problem. We become used to our problems and our challenges. And the thing I don't want us to do, and I want us to get to move beyond that particular space. And if we are to wrap up with this, it is to the fact that I have been talking to Mr. John. He's a Nigerian writer. He resides in Rivers State. He's somebody you want to read. His works are far-reaching. His works are cosmopolitan, to say the least. His works are promising, and you get to ordinarily also see how he puts in lots of efforts in what he does. We've been able to talk about his life story, how he almost lost it with education, and how not lost it with education in terms of the informal way, lost it in terms of education, the formal way of education. But here he is, a graduate of diplomatic studies from Ajuro University in Rivers State, and he's hopeful for a whole lot of things in his life, just like every Nigerian is hopeful that a new Nigeria is possible. He has been able to share his political view and the different things he ordinarily told us, and here we also get to see how things are for him and how things are for a whole lot of Nigerians, and we hope and pray that things turn out well for all of us. And we would have him. We would have him again. It's an interesting conversation. We are just able to touch the tip of the iceberg, but as we would not want to keep the conversation too long, we would definitely bring him back again. We would definitely have another session, and then we'll be able to dive into other issues that we ordinarily have not been able to have a conversation down here. I remain your host, Biringkpa, the host for Boring Conversation. I'm your brother, strolling this world with you. See you next time.